Hey, what's up guys, it is Orange Glazer here, and today I'm telling you about one of my favorite NG loadouts, the Combat NG. And the reason why I love this loadout so much is because it takes away all expectations for Engineer, and it ends up scaring a lot of the classes on the enemy team. Let me explain. Normally as an Engineer, you're usually on the defense, putting up sentries, providing teleporters, and you're kind of a support class for the rest of your team. Now, there are still some aspects of how you can support your team while being a combat NG, but nobody expects the Engineer to be right in the front lines, to be fighting multiple soldiers and demos at once. So let's go over a few of the weapons that I use for this loadout. The primary that I use is the Widowmaker. Now this gun is pretty overpowered in its own way. Why? Because you don't even need to reload the gun. Now there's a catch with that. Each shot you use takes up 30 ammo, so basically it uses up your ammo storage. Now, the part where it comes right back to become overpowered is because damage dealt is returned as ammo. Now, if you're shooting this long range, you might be wasting your ammo, but this is why it's so good. It's because you can actually just go full force into the front lines, keep shooting point blank. You can catch the enemies off guard, and as long as you keep shooting them, you'll keep regaining ammo. So in some cases, if you see a heavy all alone, you can easily get the drop on them, shoot them, catch them off guard for a bit, and if they can't seem to get their shots in, you'll probably take them down before they take you down. And another reason of why this gun can be good is because the additional 10% increased damage to your sentry's target. Now, this isn't a plus that many people know about whenever it comes to the Widowmaker, but nonetheless, it can do quite the difference whenever it comes to taking down enemies with the next weapon I'm going to bring up, the Gunslinger. Now, the Gunslinger has gone through numerous changes in the past, with sentries having too much health, and along with the mini sentries that these pop out, are very hard to hit sometimes. So if you don't know, the Gunslinger puts out a mini sentry with a smaller hitbox with the speed increase of 150% when building it. Not only does this provide a great distraction whenever running away from an enemy, but if they ever find you and your sentry, some soldiers or demo men will be tempted to try and destroy the sentry first before targeting you. So, this provides a great opportunity for you to pull out your Widowmaker and gun them down before they start gunning you down. Also, whenever you're about to melee your enemies, the third successful punch in a row always crits. Now personally, I probably wouldn't recommend trying to melee people, because sometimes while they're jumping in the air, that can push them away from you and it becomes a lot harder to hit them. And then if you're facing a soldier, a rocket versus your melee, I'm pretty sure the soldier might win in that case. Another small plus of using the Gunslinger is that you get 25 more max health. Now it's a small amount of health, but it can make all the difference between dying and living. So it's pretty useful whenever you're getting hit by all sides on the front lines. Using the Gunslinger also means you won't have random critical hits, which, it's only useful against spies that are trying to sap your stuff, but it's a small sacrifice for the upgrades that you get. And while it places it as a con, it does replace a sentry with a mini sentry, but it makes it all the more annoying and harder to hit. And what the tooltips don't tell you is that you actually spend 30 less metal whenever building a mini sentry. Now the reason that's so important is because of the Widowmaker. With 30 less ammo being used, you at least have one extra shot with the Widowmaker. And if you're missing a lot of your shots, then this can be just that one extra shot that can finish off the enemy. Now the reason why I'm going to my favorite secondary last is because of how overpowered this thing is. A lot of people don't use a short circuit because many people prefer the Wrangler, and while the Wrangler does provide a little shield for your sentry and you can actually shoot far away, the short circuit is probably one of my favorite weapons in terms of supporting your team and also not dying. So before we go into the combat aspects of this, let me just mention how overpowered this thing is. Now the left click is kind of useless, it does barely any damage and it takes up metal, so I probably wouldn't use that, but the right click shoots out a projectile that deletes all other projectiles, except the Righteous Bison and the Thompson 6000. But that is just enough to counter any single soldier or demo on the enemy team. Because whenever a round starts, you'll usually have a demo man placing traps on the enemy doors. Before your team pushes out, you can actually right click and destroy every single one of them and run back for ammo. And that can actually save your free-to-play heavy from being blasted by multiple stickies. Now into the combat aspect. Now the short circuit, it does take up a lot of metal. If you use the right click 3 times, you'll probably have 5 ammo left and you won't have anything else to do with it. That's why what I prefer to do is whenever you're going up in combat against a soldier, you right click and then you pull out your Widowmaker and try to get that ammo back. The combo between the short circuit and the Widowmaker is probably what makes this combat engineer loadout so good to use. Because if you aim your shots right, you can completely not only save yourself, but you can also save your team from an incoming crit rocket, and then proceed to blast every single one of them down with this moving projectile ball that just cancels out anything that they spit out at you. This is also good for whenever you have a mini sentry that's really hard to hit. You can actually shoot the projectile energy ball right at the incoming pipes that are about to hit your sentry and completely cancel them. Maybe it's not worth it with how much ammo it takes, but if you have a dispenser near you, this becomes the most annoying thing to your enemy team. Now the main thing to remember with the short circuit is that the energy ball takes up a lot of metal. So you should only use it whenever you're about to escape with low health, or you're going directly into a full team of soldiers and demos and trying to push them back. I've had some cases where I've tried to run away and shooting this energy ball would have saved me from rockets, and it's also good for peeking corners and deleting more stickies before your team pushes to the next capture point. Overall, this loadout, it's slightly annoying for the enemy team, but damn is it a lot of fun to play. My main gripe with this loadout was that it did take a while to get used to the short circuit, but in the end, it's probably worth it if you're standing next to a cart, a dispenser, or you're gaining ammo using the Widowmaker. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a very fun loadout that I recommend trying out, and especially if you're a pyro and you love countering soldiers and demos, you'll love the short circuit. So try it out. And before the video ends, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support you've been giving me on my channel recently. My channel has basically doubled in size in the past few months, and it's really exciting to be making content that a lot of you guys get to see. So if you like the video, click like and subscribe so you never miss out on a video, because I have some original ideas coming soon and I'm pretty sure you'll like them. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.